Welcome everyone to another great episode of Drink While You Think. I'm your host, Kenji.
I'm Matthew.
Any sponsors this week, Matthew?
No, but if you'd like to sponsor the Drink While You Think YouTube channel, please just send us beer, any kind of beer, and we'll become our sponsor.
And we'll say anything you want us to about your product. We're that cheap, literally. But on with the more important task. Yes, we have amazing guests and friends this week. KRISTEN Martin, welcome to this ridiculous show that very few people watch, except for this episode, because y'all are here. Happy to have you. Give us a quick rundown. Who are you guys? Where in the world are you? What are you doing? And then what are you drinking?
Okay, I'll start off. So I'm Kristen Keats. My partner, Martin Moll. We are here in Sherwood, Oregon. We are the founders of Breakaway Bookkeeping and Advising. We have a couple other companies too, but yeah, so we are also drinking, we got the same drinks, so we might be kind of boring. We are drinking Tito's and sodas. Ooh. I have mine's a single. Because here in Oregon, we're 3 hours earlier than you guys. So we've still got good, couple hours left in the day. So we're gonna take it easy from here.
All right, Matthew, what do you got? Show us.
I am drinking the Terrapin Recreational Ale because we've been going pretty hard for all week. So this is a low-cal to ease into the weekend beer. So
okay, I just had a wine, I think that was called Terrapin. Isn't there a wine?
Oh, yeah.
There's a brewery here in Athens, Georgia called Terrapin.
Nice. Okay.
So,
also, Matthew has an affection for Terrapins, right?
Oh, yeah. So my son's a Terrapin now. So
University of Maryland. All right. Well, that's good. I'm doing the opposite, Matthew. I'm drinking Creature Comforts. I haven't had this one. Loopulus. Tongue twister. This is a hazy double IPA that's like, can't see these at 8%. So I probably should have gone something lighter. But oh well, we're on the weekend. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Thanks for having everybody here. So, okay. First question. Ooh, that's strong. This is going to be a little tough. The year is, let's call the years are 1997, 1998. We were all in the same place, well, not in the same place, at the same company, doing the same thing at Arthur Andersen.
Woo-hoo.
I mean, what? Which office were you guys in? Portland? Did you guys know each other there? Did you guys
Dallas, how we met?
Okay. Matthew?
Dallas. How we met. It's kind of how we met. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's the origin story. So Matthew, what about you? You were
Dallas office.
Dallas, and I was Atlanta. Who stayed? Okay, we were all there around in that same couple of years, I think. Who stayed the longest? Like, did anybody stay till the end until the end? Ooh, Martin, you did?
I literally was the last person off the elevator. I took the A off I pulled it off. I've got it somewhere. It was a paperweight. I've got an Andersen A, like a heavy metal.
I never knew this.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I should have brought the cube. Did you guys get the cube when you left? We called it the death cube, the orange or the gold.
No, I didn't get one of those.
You didn't?
No.
You were in a cool kid.
I should have brought all my.
Was it like the old branding from back in the?
Oh yeah, whenever you quit, they called it a death cube because they gave it to you. Maybe it was just a Portland office thing. Right. They gave it to you when you quit, but also you could murder somebody with it if you needed to, because it was really, really heavy and it had really sharp corners. And if it falls on your foot, anyway, we called it a death cube, and it has like the logo on it. Yeah.
I just had the business card holder that has the doors on it. Do you remember that? Yeah. It was like a gold business card holder and it has the doors on it. Nice. No?
The double doors.
My ex, so I actually had an Arthur Andersen relationship marriage.
Oh, you weren't the only, I mean, I did not, but that was
there was a lot. There was a lot of them. He got a glass box, like a 10 years or something like that. I know, like a crystal box.
Yeah.
It was Tiffany.
Oh, there you go.
I
got it in the divorce somehow. I don't know how. I'm keeping that.
I had somewhere. It was a while ago. I don't know where it went to, but I had an old Arthur Andersen koozie that had the doors on it. I'm like, that's of course all that's left is a beer koozie. That's all I could find. And I did after actually years later. I left before it went down, but I did find in my crawl space in my old house, I'm like, what
So
is this
treasured
thing?
items.
I know. I'm like,
Treasured
what is this?
items.
It was an old like box of CYA material. I'm like in the old trunks that used to lug on that side to lug around. I'm like, this probably shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
However, the company's gone now. So, oh man, till the ends, Martin, all the way till the
Till the
end.
very end.
Okay. Okay. So all of us went to St. Charles. So for those who are watching, that's where you go when you're training. Did anyone ever go back for a repeat St. Charles?
You mean like after?
Yeah.
Or
Like, I went back and taught there. Did you guys ever do that? No,
I taught there.
you did.
I taught healthcare there. Yeah.
I didn't. I just did staff training and I was drunk the entire time.
The entire time.
I was either drunk or really hungover the whole time.
That's all it was.
That bar was it was a college bar, right?
It was.
It had the sticky floors, it had the grumpy bartender, the loud music. It just took everybody back home.
Yeah, it was when I went back and taught, I taught for 2 weeks right before I got married. Literally, it was like 2 weeks and then I went and I got married. I was so tired, sick, like cold, everything, because my whole class was like making me,
I got sick every time I went. Yeah.
every time I went. Yeah. And my wife she's like, you know what? I was sick on our honeymoon because you went to St. Charles right before we got married, and she's correct. So, all right, enough about crazy old Arthur Andersen, but I want to hear more about, so you mentioned, okay, you've got Sherwood Tax, Breakaway. You mentioned another, well, maybe you didn't in this one, we were talking earlier, another thing you're doing down in Mexico.
Yes. It's called Cadencia.
Let's start with Cadencia. What's going on there?
Yes. So so from the beginning, Martin and I worked with a team in India with Breakaway. And so that it's always been a part of our model to work with an offshore team, to utilize leverage. It's just like a part of our whole thinking. And we love our India team. They're amazing. But there was things that were hard about working with an India team. Just logistically, the time difference wise was really, really hard. So if they're working with you on a project and you have changes, it's like multiple days just to like have a conversation back and forth. It was really hard. Traveling there was hard. Culturally, it was pretty tough too, it's just a completely different culture. And so we, a couple of years ago, we connected with a CPA who had a team in Baja, Mexico. And we went and checked it out, and they were an amazing team. We were just super impressed, and we're like, wow, this could be a real game changer for firms in the US to be able to have the staffing option in Mexico. So we started just kind of workshopping it and figuring it out. And so in January of this year, we hired our first person. We hired two of our initial 2 hires are still with us. We hired them just as administrative assistants, but they're awesome. Great English speakers, pretty much the same time zone. They're 2 hours difference from us. They'd be 1 hour different from you guys. So they're kind of just like in the middle there. Great accounting skills. We're out of Guadalajara, Mexico. So there's lots of universities around there. It's a big tech center in Mexico. Just culturally, it's very, Western and aligned with us. So it's been awesome.
And do y'all get down there?
Now we have 12 people there now.
That's awesome.
All just
how often do you, I know it's COVID times, but how often have you been able to get down there at all? Or has it been?
We're trying to go once a quarter because again, and that's again, part of the difficulty with going to India once a quarter, you would basically be going all the time because it's a week there. Whereas Guadalajara, so as you guys know, as Matthew knows, it's easy. It's pretty much a direct flight from most places in the US. And our team, we couldn't speak more highly of them. Every interview we have with a new team member is we're even more impressed with the quality, and they want to work for US companies. Most of them have come from, we have someone from Andersen Tax, someone from Deloitte, so they're well trained. That's
fantastic.
Yeah, we're really excited about it.
My sense is in talking to other firm owners, friends of ours, it seems more common than not that people are really looking at team members outside the US. It felt like that was a little bit unusual for a while, but it seems,
even just a couple of years ago, I feel like it was weird. So our previous firm had a team in India. Is the first time I got introduced to it. but that was unusual. And I even remember before I joined that firm, people would say, well, they send their returns to India. Like that was like a terrible thing. Yeah. Yeah. And now we're like, hell yeah, we do. We want to get this work done and we need help. So we put it on our website. Like we're so upfront about it that we just like make it a part of who we are.
I love that. I love that, like that leaning in, that complete change of like, no, we're not going to hide this or try to be like, ooh, we don't know where, like we're going to lean into it and showcase these people, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
So if you go to, what is it? www.sherwoodtax.com, which is Kristen's firm, you will see her team members.
All of our team members, right?
All the team members. So it's
awesome.
It's more than just like, oh yeah, it's like Kristen said, it's hell yeah.
It's a hell yeah, not just an oh yeah. That's so Breakaway. Like I'm also fascinated with Breakaway because I think like because in some sense, if I've heard about it quickly, I'm like, oh, is that just a franchise model? But as I kind of looked at it a little bit more, and I think as you and we've talked, when we've all been together, I want you to tell me more about really the vision with it, because it seems to me like it's more around giving people an opportunity to, I guess, to break away, to really kind of get away from maybe models or parts of the profession they've been in before and get something going on their own, really, that they just didn't feel they had the capacity for. Is that right? Is that how you kind of think about the people most likely to become, I guess, are they considered advisors or they have their own practice? Yep. How do they?
I mean, so our tagline is work for yourself, not by yourself, because there's things that we love about working with a team, right? You love having coworkers. You love to not be like out on your own and trying to figure everything out. Because I mean, look at accounting is deep and wide. And so the things that we have to know or be exposed to are huge. And so it's really hard to be on your own. And so we kind of just try to not only make it easy from just like a logistics standpoint, we give them the practice edition, templates, we give them like all the insurance and kind of that back office type stuff. Yep. But I feel like one of our biggest things that we give our advisors is that community of other advisors. And it's awesome to watch. Like we call it like the Breakaway Magic because we have Slack, and so they'll just go back and forth. And so I'll like text Martin, I'm like, there's Breakaway Magic happening right now, because they just help each other and encourage each other. And it's just that part is like beyond what we even like expected it to be. Because we thought, we'd have a meeting once in a while where they like a conference or something like that, where they could get to know each other, but they're on with each other all the time.
Are they?
Yeah.
I think that's a cool thing of, we've seen that in different ways at Acuity. I think Matthew and I've had that too, where in a different way with our team you start seeing them do some of the problem solving, right? It's not always looking back to, I got to go ask Kristen, I got to ask Matthew what it is. But you're starting to watch some of them solve the problems. And then you realize too, they're coming up with things that I never would have even come up with. Right. And, which is interesting. So when did you guys start that?
Well, I was going to say before, since we started talking about Andersen, it's really the Andersen playbook. Honestly, right? I mean, think about that. Think about when we started. We're like, okay, don't know you. You're Andersen. Oh, you're my posse. You're my peer. And Andersen really had that magic. No one says, oh, KPMG. Whoa, right? It's like,
that's exactly right.
I shopped at the same store as you, but something about Andersen, they really captured that. And so we're hoping that we have that same sort of magic that, I'm Breakaway. Yeah. And there's an instant trust. So if we're very selective, but if a new advisor comes in, they're like, hey, welcome. And I'll help you out. I'll review your proposals. I'll lean in. And so it's that kind of.
We also we borrowed another thing from Andersen, and that's that we have people in start groups, or we call them cohorts, because you remember your start group, like there was people that you knew 10 years for later who was in your start group, because that was such like a bonding experience. So we created that part of it too. And our cohorts are like 5 people is kind of a sweet spot. We don't like to get them too big because we want them to be that like tight knit, like super trusted and vulnerable, like group with each other. So that's the other kind of cool thing.
That's an awesome idea. Because you're right. I hadn't thought about that. I probably couldn't name all of them, but I could probably like 26 years later come pretty close to naming most everybody in my start class because of how formative that kind of cohort model was. We had a pretty large start class. Yeah, that's Matthew, you keep in touch with any of you were there the shortest period of time, weren't you, at Andersen? You were
13 months.
What did you do? What did you do wrong? What did you?
Oh, Laura got into grad school, and Andersen didn't have an Austin office.
Oh, okay.
They
well,
wanted me to commute to the San Antonio office, which is like an hour and a half, and I was like, there's other big firms down there, you know. So I just moved over to EY in '98, right after I had started in '97. And
so you're saying you picked the girl over the firm?
Yeah, several
Not
times.
the Andersen way.
I've picked the girl over my job several times.
That's
during my
probably a
career.
good idea. That's probably a good idea. Yeah, that's not bad.
That's what got me to Atlanta, dude.
I know
If
that's
you
true.
remember
That is a
that.
good point. That's a good point. We would have never
After her
made this
PhD,
connection.
she got the job in Georgia State.
You know,
so.
the other thing that I will say that it's interesting thinking about things we took away from Andersen. And was that everybody's like, was that your first job out of school? No, so it was me and Matthew's.
my first.
Okay. Well, but it's early, very early in our
Yes.
careers. It was early. Like it was
Because
very
we're all
quick,
still so young.
So young. Yeah.
so young.
We were babies.
Yeah. One of the things I've definitely tried to do that just sticks with me from Andersen is I remember when people would leave Andersen for whatever reason, like right after you either hear like, ooh, they didn't make it, or they just took another job, whatever. It's like suddenly their status like went up. They're like, now they're an Andersen alumni. And I'm like, well, hey, everyone talked bad about that person when they were actually working here. Now they're an alumni. And it was like, what do you?
Most of the time I went to work for a client, so they got
Exactly,
good
right?
stuff, yeah.
It was that mindset of like, okay, we're going to treat people really, really well, even when they're leaving, because you never know again when they may come back. And like,
But
be
it's
helpful.
real, right?
It is
Like, so we
so
talk
real.
about the fact that, so I was only there 3 years, which was
Yep.
not very long, but I still keep in touch with like, we still go to parties with these people. Like it's the same kind of thing. So I remember when I was a staff person, I got really irritated one time when I heard that I don't know if your office had this, but it was like a rule that you had to go out to lunch.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
what the
yes.
hell kind of rule
Yeah.
is that?
Yep.
But then I got it because all those people I went out to lunch with, especially a town like Portland, I don't know how it is in Atlanta. Guess what? Now they're CFOs, they're CEOs, they're like, that's our network. And it's just been amazing. I'm like, what a brilliant thing that as a 26-year-old staff person, you're like, what the F? You're invading my rights or whatever, but like
I want
brilliant.
my peanut butter and jelly sandwich I made for myself in the office. No, you can't have it. Right?
Yeah.
Actually, I never thought about that. We had the same thing. I don't know if it was like that in Dallas too, but like I just
we were like, for whatever reason, it's like 11:30 was lunch.
we were
Like,
too.
Yeah.
We were like, the accountants would beat everybody's ass to lunch. Like we were the
11:30.
first
We're
people.
not going to waste time
No.
waiting in line anywhere. We're going to get there first, get it in, get it done, back to the billable hours.
That's actually what I remember most about those lunches. I guess I forgot that we just
Oh,
never.
that
It's
is
always
pissing my
11:30.
spouse off. Like every time she was like on the weekend, I'd like to try this restaurant. I was like, oh, I ate there on Thursday.
Yep.
No,
But that's his life all day, every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
She would be so
Say,
pissed.
some of those things we hold on to, right, Martin? We just keep
Yeah.
them
Well,
going.
it's ingrained.
That's a great one there. Yeah, but that 11:30 thing, I swear, for another decade or two, like I
So
could not eat
hilarious
lunch.
that's like
It was like, well,
office wide thing.
so again, we'll get on to more interesting things, but that was
Pretty good. I think.
brilliant and it was actually Leonard Spivak. It wasn't Andersen, but the brilliance of the double doors, they knew brand before brand was a thing, right? So any other firm is like the price, or at that point, what price, or Cooper's Library or what,
Yeah.
every office would be a little bit different, but Andersen had
Yeah.
the
They always had to have an office with 2 doors.
double doors, right?
Yeah.
Every single office. You go to the Boise office. I remember I went to the Atlanta office, I've been at the
Oh,
Dallas office. They had those old double doors. So they
But it was
branded
also the
it.
only one that made it without doing a bunch of mergers.
Bingo. Yep.
That's right.
So
Everybody
they
else
didn't
would
have to have the different
leapfrog.
people.
They were always Andersen.
They
Anyway,
were
we can move
always,
on.
they were always more interesting. I mean, it was, I don't know how it was in the other offices, but there was a backlash at least in Atlanta, from what I remember, when they moved away from the doors and went to the orange ball thing. Do you remember that?
That was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was. That's when things were like, okay, what is this? The orange ball thing was not.
And there was very
suited.
specific things how the ball could be used.
Yeah.
Yes, there was.
It had to be taken very seriously.
Do not taunt.
I think we were
Yeah.
all there the year though that we got our names in the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
Where they took out the whole
Oh.
full page ad in the Wall
Yeah.
Street Journal.
I've
Do you
still got
guys
it
remember
somewhere.
this?
Oh,
So
you
that,
have to find that.
I do.
I feel like I kept that for a long time too. I'm sure it's in some box in the
I
garage.
was like, because they said, I think they told us all, this is the last time we want to see your name in it.
And then Enron happened.
And then, then
Joke's
that
on
did that.
them.
Yeah. Then there were some names out of the
Enron,
Houston office that ended up in there a lot. I do remember that because I remember I told my parents, I'm like, go buy the Wall Street Journal. I'm in it. And they're like, wait, what? What did you do?
Oh,
no?
My Andersen story is my wife and I were making the decision whether she should go back to graduate school in Austin and get her master's degree. And I had an opportunity at Andersen to move to Clinton, Mississippi and work on WorldCom full time.
Oh,
The year before the fraud started.
Kudos to you, my friend.
Yep. Well done.
Good job.
Oh, here's
Good
to
decision.
dodging bullets.
Drink of that.
Here's to
Here's to dodging bullets and
Yeah.
following. See, you should listen to your spouse. There it is. right there.
That's the what I'm hearing. The
theme.
lesson,
Yeah.
to be learned.
So when I left Andersen, I was like, I am out of, I jumped the hell out of like big public. I was gone. Matthew, you hopped around a bit, right? You jumped EY.
Then I went to industry. Then I came back to PwC. Then I went to EY. Then I went to
You made
Sherry
partner in a big
Becker,
regional, you made partner in a
did
big
the-
regional firm.
number 25.
Yeah. And then but you guys did too. You guys went back into, at a very large regional firm. And I think you guys were there together again, right? Tell me the name of that
There
one.
was a brief moment in time we were
Yeah.
there together. Yes.
Okay.
So it was, so Martin was the CEO of that firm. So it's a pretty big regional firm. Yeah, it's top 100 of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, turns out my tenure was not to be long there, but many important things happened when
Many important things.
I was there. We accomplished a lot
Yeah,
in the
we did.
18-month tenure that I had there.
Well, of course. You're so efficient, Kristen. You're just packing it all in. Like, why waste
Right.
time? Let's get all the shit
The
done.
universe had a plan. And the plan was for us to hatch
Yeah.
Breakaway while I was there. That's really essentially what happened.
Well, that did happen, right? So that did happen. Like, did it truly, like, while you were there, go, okay, there's a better way to do this? Or,
It's why I brought Kristen in the firm. I'm like, help me bust through this log jam. And there's nothing wrong with a big public accounting firm.
right.
We love the industry. We really do love the industry, but we love what you guys are doing more. We love what we're doing more. There's a better way to do it. And so, and I've been a born disruptor, and I was always a little bit of a square peg because I was a lawyer, was managing an accounting firm, but I'm like, we can do this. And our tagline, as you guys know, but I give my partner 110% credit because I thought it was a little.
They laughed. Laughed. You can say it.
I laughed. She said, because our overall mission statement is bring joy to accounting, right? And bring joy. So not choose joy, which is more about you, but bring joy with you, right? So actually, this is fun shit. Am I allowed to say?
Oh, yeah, it's all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This
I
is
already
all the
broke
time.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But what we're doing is fun, and it helps clients. It helps the economy. Why not have fun? Why not have a cocktail on a Friday with
Right.
friends?
Right.
And the hard part about our industry is they all take themselves way too seriously. So
Absolutely.
we're like, it's what you guys are doing, it's what we're doing, and it's been a hell of a lot of fun.
Well, when we all met, for me, it was very much of when we met earlier this year, in Scottsdale, it definitely was like, I had a very, very clear moment of like, how do we not know each other yet? Right. For being such kindred spirits. And then really when Kristen, you dropped that right away and said that like, hey, we are bringing joy to the accounting industry. I was like, these are my people. This is it. Yeah, absolutely. I think I pulled you aside afterwards after that. I'm like, I love that so much. That's exactly, and it was meaningful for me coming from I think also peers in the industry who've kind of walked a similar path, right? Again, we just talked about, we all started in what we thought was like the Mecca, right? Arthur Andersen. And it was great in many ways for us. And I thought that was the mountaintop of what we should accomplish. But it was, a lot of those experiences were lacking in that joy, lacking in like, and I don't know, when did that for you come about? Like, when did you like, all right, there's a better damn way to do this? When did that concept of bringing joy, was that drinks with Martin at the old firm? Or was that like, did you always have that kind of?
So
It's gotta be
the
something
chicken story.
Yeah, tell the chicken story. I even had my prop out earlier, but go ahead.
So this is back when I was CEO. It was during the heart of tax season, and I have to confess, right? 450 people, 400 people. I was relatively distant from the trenches.
Mhm.
So Kristen comes in my office, and she had a little card, and she said, "Do you know why I buy these eggs?" I'm like, "Where are we going here?" She's like, "Do you know why? Listen to me. Do you know why I buy these eggs?" And she said, "I buy these eggs because the farmers tell me they come from happy chickens." I'm like, okay, so
I said, do you know why I pay twice as
right.
much for these
and also,
eggs?
yeah, do you know why? Not only do I buy these eggs, but I also pay twice as much. And she said, "What do you think our clients would think if they knew how miserable your staff are right now?" And then she walks out of my office. And that actually, I never forgot. It's one of those things that got me, it wobbled my orbit, honestly, because I'm like, we don't have happy chickens.
Because Martin was a little bit, he was like, I'm sorry, but like the emperor has no clothes. Everybody wanted to please him. Everybody wanted to tell him what he wanted to hear. And they knew what he wanted and what he thought that he had. And I was the one going, you're naked. Everything sucks. Everybody's unhappy. Yeah.
And that's not anything about, because it is a great firm.
No.
It's nothing.
No.
But it's just our industry.
It's the industry.
Right.
Absolutely is. Absolutely. I mean,
which is why we had to, but it's why we had to do cadencia, right? We had to have a staff augmentation, because otherwise we'd work hard and we'd say bring joy, yay, and then we'd have people who are missing their kids' birthday parties and and working themselves harder and pleasing clients and pleasing the government. And so cadencia was a critical part, as well as our India team.
Yeah. I do remember there were some of the dark sides of Andersen for me on that. And I didn't really know as much as it's a young kid, like working there. We used to have these partner dinners they would do with staff people. And I don't know if that was office wide, but once a year, you got a group of staff got to go to a partner's house and have dinner with them and just ask them anything. Right. And I think it was a good idea. Like it was super exciting for us as a young person. You go to these houses, but it also had the effect of like, there were some badass houses. You're like, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, mansions and beautiful. And so you're like, whoa, okay, I'm just going to grind through this. And so those are always kind of exciting to go sit there and they'd ask questions. You ask questions and you'd hang out. And I remember going to one partner's, I'm not going to put it out there. They'd be the one person who would get back to probably. I remember going to one partner's house one of these years doing it. And in like the middle of dinner, suddenly like young kids came in and all of us staff people were kind of horrified because we've been in the house actually for like a couple hours already. And there was not like a picture of these kids anywhere. And there's nothing, it was just a very like, do they belong to you? Because it doesn't seem like it in this very, we're like, what are they?
I feel like I had that same experience with, it's the exact same experience. I don't know if you were there. It was a 415 partner party for the tax. It was at the tax managing partner's house.
Yep, I was.
It was very sterile.
Oh, yes.
That's exactly what you're saying. And you could tell that like it was beautifully decorated, beautifully appointed. There was even a sport court in it, but it didn't feel like, it didn't feel lived in at all.
At all. And it just threw me off. I was like, I was newly married and young and thinking about family stuff. I'm like, what is happening here? Like, what is going on? It just was a very like, I don't know. It really threw me off a bit. Because I'm like, oh, this is going to be a grind.
I remember interviewing at Deloitte and the partner is a woman partner that I was interviewing with. And she's just like, oh yeah, I have this really great daycare because I can drop my kids off before 7. And as long as I'm there by 7 at night, like it's fine. And I'm like,
You're like,
that's really great.
That sounds.
Those are not happy chickens.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I remember, for me, it was, I made partner.
Yeah. You made partner.
And I was like, this is so cool. I made it. I finally made partner. And then I look up and I'm like, I'm just starting my career.
Right.
I'm like, everybody told me like this was the journey. And I got here and I'm like, oh no, this was just like the start. Now I gotta like do all this stuff. And I was like, oh, do I want to do this job?
Well, and also
like where you're like doing audits, and like if you mess up on a PCAOB audit, you get shot in the head and act like a rogue audit partner. Like, really? Like, that's what I'm in now? Like, that's not a partnership. That's like a sparring squad. It's terrible.
Yeah, you're out there on your, I mean, that was I remember, and that was a bit of our origin story, and I won't do the whole thing, but Matthew was a very good friend, and I made a joke. I was struggling through things at Acuity. Like, and I joked, I'm like, hey man, you want to come help me, Mr. New Hotshot partner? And Matthew absolutely was like Mr. He's like Mr. Hotshot, young hotshot partner in town, like the face of like business development for this firm. He was, I mean, great firm he was at. And I was kind of like joking. We were out having beers. I'm like, come help me. And he goes, don't kid around about that. I'm like, yeah, whatever, please. You just grab the brass ring. You're the hottest guy in town right now. And that's when you kind of looked at me and you're like, man, this is not what you, I mean, talk about the emperor's clothes, like, right. He's like, it's not what it's all made out to be.
Yeah.
So
we've got the same story in that we've had partners from local firms reach out to us and say, I'm biding my time. I want to come join you. I want to be a breakaway. It's like, I just want to have fun doing what I'm doing, serve my clients.
And I would say, I think, I mean, you developed a whole, not just a thesis, but an actual business model around that. Like, all right, let's give people opportunities if you want to do that. And like, hey, I'm an accounting professional. I would like more joy in my life, but I need a little bit of, I need my people. I need some people to help support me. You've kind of got that. And I guess it seems like an obvious question. Maybe it's a little bit rhetorical, but I would say that, like, I think we all found more joy in this part of the profession. And this is coming from people who ran big firms, partners at them. I kind of muddled my way through them is kind of how I kind of got through them.
You don't count.
I don't count. I know I don't really count, but I do think there's, and maybe it's our definition, but I do think there's more joy in kind of this smaller space where we're talking about more modern tool sets. We're really not, we're like, how do you not grind people up? How do you use tools better? Right. I mean, I think that's a big premise of what you guys do is, right.
Technology is a huge pillar.
You've described that before, Kristen, is like, you're a huge technology evangelist for that exact reason. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing right there that keeps it from being, I always say it keeps it from being a manual just grind, to where it puts accounting professionals back being knowledge-based workers, right? We want to be valued for our knowledge and our advisory skill set, not just cranking away, whether it's on deadlines for 415 or.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, that's the people that I want to find right now are exactly like, have our team help with the detailed work. We're not going to worry about data entry. We've got the robots to help with the work. What do our clients really value? And so that's what I'm pricing. That's what I'm pitching right now is relationship. When I'm pitching a client, it's our relationship. And so that's what I'm selling to. So you can pick me up, pick up the phone and call me anytime you want. I'm not going to send you an extra bill, but like these small clients, they don't have anybody else to talk to. Like, we're it,
Yep.
We are it.
The way you can do that is with tech and with a SAP hog, right? You have to have and it's even though we're looking at your faces, but what we would say is, we want to get to the point where the computer's behind you, not in front of you, right? I think right now the industry right now, the job is sitting in front of a computer doing work. No, computer behind you doing the work, and you're talking to the client. That's all you're doing all day long.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, that's an awesome analogy.
Just so you know, Kristen, one of our core values is happy.
Nice.
So that's our version of joy. It's like, because. And then Kenji put it in there when he was doing our COO challenged us to put our core values down on paper. And he came up with these 5 things, and he came up with happy, because everybody always asks us, like, how long are we going to do this? And I tell them, because I'm going to do it until it's not fun. Yeah. I'm going to do this until it's not fun anymore. Yep. And everybody else should do the same. Like that's when it's time to leave.
Life is short, right?
Yeah.
Life is short. The skills all of us have in the accounting industry are too valuable to not be happy, to not find joy in it. And there is
bring joy.
Well,
bring joy.
You got to bring it, but I think also, I hope more. That's part of why I think it's important to be in these communities. I think we do need accountants to step out a little bit and say, hey, I'm willing to take a risk and try something new. And maybe it's a firm I've never heard of before that is not just part of the big four or is a top 10 regional or a top 100, is to say, don't worry, you've got great skill sets that are valuable. You're going to be fine, but we'll help bring the joy. Just kind of meet us there a little bit of the way there, right?
Yes.
Come to it. We'll help you out. So,
and what's interesting is and the reason we called it Breakaway is because it goes back to, we do love the industry, right? And so Matthew was a partner. It's like we would love for your firm and our firm to actually lead the way, so that, because we can't, right? There's plenty of room for really, really good public accounting firms, and there are lots of really, really good public accounting firms. But if we can actually show that it can be done, they'll copy us. How cool would that be? So the reason we called it Breakaway was, so it's a cycling term, right? So if you ever watch the Tour de France, it's like you got them, they're grinding up the hill, or they're all of a sudden there's a breakaway, right? There's a small group pills off from the peloton, and they're just going,
he's got his leg.
It's your people.
You're getting an air hug right here.
Martin loves that as a cyclist. I know Martin's a big cyclist, so he loves that. That's
so. But think about it, right, Matthew? So you get the breakaway, and everyone's like, "Yes, it's a breakaway." The breakaway doesn't run the race, right? The breakaway is not the yellow jersey. The breakaway, they do the breakaway. Why? Because they can, because it's fun, because it's joyful. So we don't want to be the biggest accounting firm or the biggest. We just want to break away and have the peloton follow us.
Oh man, there you go.
I like that.
You like that?
Like
that.
You guys can do it with us. Well, you are doing it with us, right? There's a small, and we met those people in Scottsdale, right? There's a bunch of rebels who are breaking away, saying, "Come on, guys, hurry up, catch up."
And that's a thing I've loved about the transition from where I am, and all of us have been, as to where the accounting space for me has become so much more of a community of friends, just like you. To where before, when we were at Andersen, I mean, and you go on audit proposals, you were trying to kick, KPMG's teeth in, and Deloitte just go, we knew they were all lined up right behind us on all their different proposals. So, you're out there. There wasn't a lot of collaboration there. There wasn't a lot of, hey, let's come on and go. It was very different. Whereas now it is let's learn from each other, let's support each other, let's help each other, so the whole profession can break away. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I like it.
I like it. Matthew, can you fit in any of those jerseys anymore?
No, I did the audits for Lance Armstrong's bike teams during the run. So at EY.
There's a good reason at last to stay.
That's why I have the Lance Armstrong signed jersey and the other one. I know they're not popular for other people because the whole whatever, they're popular for me because they're sentimental value.
There you go.
So,
well,
okay. One from the Radio Shack team and one from Discovery.
This will be a great way to finish this, okay? Because we'll land this plane here and let people who are still on the West Coast time actually finish up with their busy schedules.
Finish our drinks, you mean?
Yeah. Well, we got to start exactly. Well, KRISTEN, you and I at some point we said we're going to go ride together on Peloton. We're like, we've been Peloton kind of buddies. Do we need to create a hashtag or a team out there?
Let's create a hashtag. Channel? Sure.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. You think of the name. Maybe we can put it in the notes for the.
We'll drop it in the notes. Okay. KRISTEN and I
are on the Twitter.
A Peloton team of accountants who are breaking away, not only for the industry, but out there breaking away and helping us, so that we can do more drinking, during the week. We got to have some kind of balance there. So
my screen name is Jedi CPA in case anyone wants to follow.
Jedi CPA. Mine's K2 and Jedi CPA. We're going to figure out the hashtag for Peloton for other accountants to come ride with us.
Yes.
Right, Martin? Martin will do it, right?
Well, Matthew and I will see you on the railroad, but
okay.
Actually, I'm kidding. Actually, I decided I'm going to get a Peloton.
So. There we go.
It only took me a year. I won you over.
Wants to drink with me.
I guess
Anybody
don't work
wants
on
to
Matthew.
drink?
I'm going to get Matthew on it. So we can't really rank your guys' drinks. I'll go ahead and do my screen share on the drink ranking here. You can still rank them verbally, but we can't really log them in our amazing system here. But how good of a job did KRISTEN do on those? Was it Tito's and soda? Is that right?
So it was the right pour. My partner knows me well. There was no lemon. So I'm going to give her a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay,
I can accept that. Yeah, it's
You
fine.
can accept that. Kristen, you give your same score or a different score, higher score, 3.5?
I think it's the same. Yeah.
Okay, Matthew, you're drinking the Recreation Ale. I've had that one before. I like that beer, but what did you think about it? I'm not sure this is your style of beer, so I'm
This
curious.
is not my style of beer. I'm gonna go with just a 3.
Okay, that's about what I'd expect from you on the Recreation Ale.
I was tempted to give it 275, but it's only 88 calories, so it's just bumped back up. So like
Always
at
gonna be
least I
skeptical
didn't
of that.
at least I didn't burn calories on a crappy beer. Like I just have a few calories on a crappy beer.
It's kind of like the celery of beer.
Yes.
The
There you go.
celery beer.
That's how I would call this water affectionately.
I mean, I'm not a huge beer drinker, but 8% seems like a lot.
It's a lot. And I was going to say, this has affected my rating. I think when you saw me take my first sip, I kind of, stumbled.
Yeah.
It was probably down in the 3 zone. I'm going to give it a nice solid 4 now, but I have a feeling that I'm giving it the 4 because the 8% is kind of starting to, again. So, whatever works. There's more, drinks there that feel free to come and check out, or maybe not all the drinks that Matthew and I have had on here with our guests. But we are so grateful that y'all jumped on. And it's so
This is super fun.
happy seeing both of you again. Can't wait to catch up soon. And
ZeroCon, you doing ZeroCon?
ZeroCon New Orleans.
We're there.
I knew you're going to be there. That's going to be great. We'll definitely be there together.
And
we'll relive some more Arthur Andersen stories. It'd be great.
That'd be so fun. And if you ever want a trip to Guadalajara to meet the team and see what it's about, come on down. Come on down every quarter. Ping us.
That would be super cool.
Mariachis and guacamole, and it's so
Mocajete, and
yeah, we're going in a month. We're very excited.
Y'all are selling it right. That sounds fantastic. So
Okay.
Speaking my language. See,
cheers, everyone.
That would be the soul beer.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us. Subscribe, all 8 of you.
We're on
See you
it.
next time. Cheers.
Just triple